guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video was on contouring, kind of just for beginners, basic contouring. So yeah, if you want to know how to contour, you can keep watching. Okay, so I already applied moisturizer to my face. Also, Simba is chilling out over there. So, yes. So we're just gonna get started. Okay, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. So I'm gonna take my foundation, and today I'm gonna use the L'Oreal Infallible foundation. And I'm gonna use a sponge to apply it. This is the Juno & Co. like microfiber one. So yeah, I'm going to apply we'll put 2 pumps on my hand and we'll see how much I use. And we're just gonna dot this all over the face and blend it out with the sponge. Okay, so I didn't use the full 2 pumps. I probably used like 1.5. So I'm just gonna take a makeup wipe and wipe that off. And then we're gonna go in with concealer and start the highlighting process. So I'm going to take the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer. You want to take a concealer that will conceal, so it has full coverage, but it will also highlight. And we're going to apply this under the eyes in a triangle kind of shape. Depending on how much coverage you want, you don't have to apply this much. You can apply more or less, whatever you want. Completely up to you. I'm just going to go like this. And then you want to take it up against the sides of your nose to kind of shape your nose a little bit more before we go in with contour. And you want to go around the sides of your nose for your redness. You want to, if you want to bring your chin a little bit more forward, you can apply concealer right there, and that'll just like bring attention there. And then I apply it to my Cupid's bow, a thin line, or as thin as you can get it on your nose. And then depending on your face, if you have a small forehead and you want your forehead to look bigger, you could apply concealer all like that. I have a rather large forehead, so I don't like to apply too much, so I just apply it right in the center of my eyebrows. And then we're just going to blend that out with our sponge as well. Apply some to our lids too, to make that a little bit more even. And same thing with our sponge. So you can see that already kind of lifted our face a little bit. So now we're just going to contour to add some shadows in, because right now we look pretty like white. So with contouring, you want to layer your products, because that's going to give you the best finish, the most long lasting, at least I find that. So I'm going to take the Maybelline Fit Me Shine Free and Balance Foundation. This is in the shade Toffee. And what you want to do is you want to apply it by your cheekbones. To just lift your face. Your forehead. And you can bring this in however much you want. If you have a smaller forehead and like you applied a lot of concealer here, you might not want to apply contour there. This is just gonna like make your face look a little bit smaller, so yeah. And then your jawline. So let's say you already have a pretty sharp jawline and you don't really want to bring more attention to that, then you might not want to do that. So yeah, that's my little tips. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Morphe M124 little shader brush, and I'm going to take some of that contour and I'm going to contour my lips. You don't have to do this if you like your lip shape, or if you're like a beginner, but I just like to do this sometimes. Only a little bit, like I'm adding it right on the edges, like that, so it just makes them look a little bit bigger. And then I'm going to take this and apply it like on my nose. And this is how you get like a super duper snatched tiny nose. Normally I'll use a brush that I'm going to go in next to blend this out. It's a little bit bigger. But if you want to get like a super tiny precise nose, then I suggest going in with a little brush like this. So I'm just applying it on the sides of my nose, and the key to contouring your nose is you don't want to go like just on the edge of where your nose is, because if I did that, it would be here, and that wouldn't be making my nose look smaller. It would just be making it look the way it normally looks. So you want to go on top of your nose and make it how small you want. And then I like my nose to be like a little bit shorter, like a button nose. So I apply contour here. If you want to make your nostrils look smaller, you can apply it like right here. It really depends. And then I also like to take it up into like my brow a little bit up here to just connect it, the shadows. You can also contour like in your eyes. Oh my god, I'm like creasing so much. But you can also contour in your crease. And that's good for more like hooded eyes and stuff like that, but that's not really, you don't have to do that. So yeah, this looks pretty good to me. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wipe this brush off first so I don't forget, because I use this for concealer to carve out my brows sometimes. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my sponge, I just like wiped that. I'm gonna take my sponge and begin to blend this out. So what you wanna do, you can also use a brush to do this, but you wanna like pat your face, but also kind of like swipe. It's like a pat and swipe. You don't wanna like just completely swipe, because then you're gonna mess up the foundation underneath. Also with contouring, you could contour underneath your foundation, but I find that this is kind of like the most basic way that you can go about it. So I wanted to do kind of the easiest way first, and then if you guys want to see something more like not advanced, but like, I don't know, something more in detail, then we can do that. Just let me know. And this product is really easy to blend. It looks nice and creamy. So yeah. And then on your forehead, you really want to drag it into the hairline so that there's no like line between like your scalp and where your makeup is. And then to blend out my like lip contouring and my nose, I'm going to take the Morphe E62 brush. So this is the brush I was saying I normally just go in with, but as you can see, like this is a lot thicker than going in with this little skinny tip. So completely up to you, but I just like to take this one to blend. And then I'll go in with this with powder contour too on my nose. So yeah, you just want to use this to blend out. And you don't want to just like go like this, because that's going to defeat the purpose of making the lines. What I do is I first go over the line. And then what I do is I drag it down the sides of my nose. So you can see it's still a line, there's nothing in the center, but it's blended. And then what you can do is, since it still looks a little bit harsh, you can take your sponge and just go over that a little bit so it's a little bit less harsh. You can do this on all the contour, but the underlying shadow is still kind of there. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to use like powder contour, but I'm gonna use like a bronzer kind of. This is the Maybelline City bronzer. It's a bronzer and contour powder, and this is in the shade 100, I think. Yeah, that's what it says. It looks like this. So yeah, and we're gonna take the Juno & Co. like angled brush, and I'm just going to tap into this, tap off the excess, and then I'm going to set all the places that I cream contoured. So I'm just going to tap on top, and then I'll go in with another brush and kind of blend that out. But we're just going to tap. And since this is a contour and bronzer powder, you don't have to go in with bronzer because this is pretty warm. If you're using a more cool toned bronzer or contour powder, you might want to go in with bronzer, but I'm not going to go in with bronzer today since I'm kind of using it already as my contour. So I'm just tapping all the places that I cream contoured. And this layering effect will just like last better throughout the day, and overall will just look better. So now I'm going to go in with that little angled brush and just tap to bring that shadow back. This is the Morphe E48, and we're just going to lightly blend over that contour to just blend the edges, make sure it's smooth. And then I'm going to use as a highlight powder, I'm going to take the Essence Brighten Up Banana Powder. I'm going to take the e.l.f. blush brush. I like this because it's kind of flat, so you can just press it in there and then just tap it right under. So I'm going to apply this everywhere that I highlighted. So under my eyes, I'm going to bring it down the sides of my nose as well. And then I'm just going to set the eyelids while I'm here. I'm going to set underneath the contour, the chin, the cupid's bow, and the center of my forehead. And then I need just a tiny little brush. I'm just going to take the Real Techniques setting brush, but I'm just going to take like the very top of it and just blend down the center of my nose like that. And yeah, that's basically it. You can stop here, but I personally like a sharper line, so I'm going to bake a little bit. You don't have to do this with contouring. You can just kind of end here. But I'm going to take the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Translucent Powder, and I might be running out, but okay. So I'm going to take my sponge and dip it. I put some in the cap. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it from like where the top of my ear kind of goes and just drag it down like that. So it's just going to create a nice line when we dust it away. And I'm also going to bring it along the sides of my nose. On a normal day where I'm not really focusing on contouring that much, like this in depth, I would also bake under my eyes, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to focus on the contouring. And I'm also going to add a line down the center of my nose, trying to make it as straight as possible, so that we highlight there also. And yeah, so I'm gonna finish the rest of my makeup and come back and show you what it all looks like. Okay, so I did my eyebrows, I did my eyes. I used the ColourPop Baby Got Peach palette. I did just this like soft, simple look, and I applied blush. So now we're just gonna finish up. I'm going to just dust away this baking, and as you can see, like, it looks a little bit cleaner than before. You can see it more on this side. So yeah, and then I like to just go over really quick with no additional color. yeah, so now we just have highlight and lips. You don't have to do a highlight, like a shimmer one. You don't have to do that by any means. You can just stick to like highlighting under your eyes and stuff like that. But I like highlights, so we're gonna do that. I'm gonna take the ColourPop Disney Designer Collection Pressed Powder Highlighter in the shade Horse and Carriage. It's like a icy white kind of highlight. And I'm going to take that with my Morphe M501 brush. I'm just going to apply that to my cheekbones, my chin, my cupid's bow, the sides of my forehead, and then I'm going to take a little brush. This is the Morphe by Jaclyn Hill JH42, and I'm going to apply that to the tip of my nose and the bridge of my nose. Now with highlight, I always use a smaller brush for my nose, and I don't know if I've ever really said why, but a lot of people, they'll just take their normal highlight brush and just run it over their nose, but that defeats the purpose of contouring your nose, because if you spent all that time making little lines and like reshaping it the way you want, and then you just run highlight over it, like that defeats the purpose. So you want to apply it in little strategic areas, kind of like an exclamation point, so a little dot and then a line. That helps. And then I'm also just gonna apply this to my inner corner and my brow bone as well. And then I always take my sponge and just blend over the highlight in the cheek area to make sure everything is blended and it's not just like a line, like it all kind of merges together and it diffuses it a little bit. And that highlight is really strong. Okay, so yeah, now we just have lips. Lippity-doo-dahs. I don't know what I want to do with my lips. I think I'm going to take the KKW Beauty Lip Liner in the shade Nude 1.5, and then we'll figure out what I'm going to do with the rest. Okay, so that's the lip liner. I think I'm just going to take like a peachy color. I'm going to take the Color Riche Plump and Shine Coconut Plump Lipstick from L'Oreal. And see what that looks like. I just added some shine. Where's the peachy one? Alright, whatever. Let's just take the Maybelline Vivid Hot Lacquer lip gloss in the shade Tease, and we're gonna add that to the center. And I always add a lighter shade to my lips it's kind of like contouring and highlighting. You're highlighting the center to bring the attention there so it makes your lips look bigger. Like my lips are not this big. It's the lip liner and the lip gloss. So we're going to set our face. I'm going to take the Morphe Luminous setting spray. And I'm going to take my fan and then just tap it with my sponge. And yeah, that is everything. That's how I contour. So yeah, if you want to see other kind of like tutorial, like educational videos, let me know. And yeah, bye.